Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello. Thank you for watching my videos. That's right, Mr. Anderson. You should watch. I don't know why I do Mr. Smith's voice. It's just the way I talk sometimes. It's not intentional. It's just when I get, I don't know, in front of a camera. Anyway, regardless. The news for the day, July 1st, 2009. Okay, so some interesting things are happening over in Britain. So this is going to primarily focus on Britain, although there is one story from China. Right. Britain braced for another sizzler. Temperatures are climbing in Britain quite dramatically this summer. Over in London, they hit 31.2 degrees yesterday. No, 31.8 degrees. My word, that's pretty warm for the south of England. And for those people out there that don't already own a fan, go buy a fan. You'll help the economy rebound. Really, you will. Tesco's expects a dramatic increase in demand for electric fans. So go buy one, for gosh sakes. You'll be able to sleep better at night anyway. Some people. Last rites for ID cards, read by Johnson. Okay, so there's a new Home Secretary over in England, over in Britain, because Jackie Smith unfortunately got embroiled in this whole expenses scam thing and left the cabinet. So we have a new Home Secretary, Alan Johnson, and Alan Johnson. And Alan Johnson yesterday killed off the government's cherished compulsory identity card scheme. Yes, basically saying that it will no longer be compulsory. It will be entirely optional. It will be a personal choice for citizens to sign up. Buried in the middle of the article, though, other people will start being added to the register in 2011-2012. Underpinning the scheme when they apply for biometric passports. So, it may be entirely optional for you to have an ID card, but if you wish to have a passport, you'll be on the register. There is a £1,000 fine if you do not notify them when you change your address. Yeah. Senior Bank of England official last night said, "Banking became the goose laying the golden eggs. There is no period in recent UK financial history which bears comparison." He then went on to say that the nearest thing he could think of was the South Seas bubble back in the early 18th century. He said that bankers and policymakers became seduced by the excess returns available. Quote, "Banks appeared to have discovered a money machine, albeit one whose workings were sometimes impossible to understand. One of the South Sea stocks was memorably a company for carrying out an undertaking of great adventure, but nobody to know what it is." Banking has become the 21st century equivalent. I do like that. Anyway, so there's an interesting graph in there as to what the banking returns have been like over the past decade or so, and I don't expect it to get anywhere near as high. Financial Times, credit card losses hit record 10.4%. Losses on US credit cards hit a record 10.44% in June, squeezing profit margins by credit card securitization to a 10-year low. Okay, now, what they do, this whole nonsense about credit default swaps and collateralized debt obligations and all these other wacky and weird financial instruments that the banks have been creating over the last few years. Essentially, they take the credit card loans and they bundle them together into a securitization, and they sell this so that the credit card companies do not actually hold the debt. Some sucker out there has got it. If the debt defaults to a certain level, the company then has to pay these bondholders more money. The doomsday financial scenario, as mentioned in the middle of this article, is that credit card losses will rise to levels that force the vehicles to repay bondholders early. And of course that will reduce their capitalization dramatically. It's going to go bang real soon. Some good news over in England. British Gas creates 2,600 new jobs. Rah, rah, rah. What are they doing? Installing smart meters. Perhaps not so rah, rah, rah. Thing is how it is going to cost you 150, 180, 300 pounds, or whatever it is, over the next 5 years to pay for these stupid things. And then they're just going to turn stuff off for you. That'll be very nice, won't it? Yes. Union takes migrant worker fight to the Tesco annual general meeting. Now Tesco's evidently, well, I can't say evidently because evidence is a bit lacking in this, but apparently Tesco's is accused of allowing exploitation of foreign workers in its UK meat supply chain. Tesco's, of course, denies all of this. But never mind, it's going to get worse. Tesco's apparently is eyeing up Northern Rock. They'd like to purchase it off the government. That would be nice. The bank would no longer be nationalized. That's cool. There is great risk in doing this, of course. And, of course, what is Tesco famous for? Cutting, and cutting. And they're just going to cut workers and send call staff and outsource all the call staff off to India or China or Kenya or some other wacky place. And Northern Rock will be no more. Over in China, mentioning it, Airbus rides the Chinese Dragon. Ambrose Evans Pritchard, still over in China, having a grand old time, it would appear. Basically, he's gone off to visit the Airbus factory over in China. And what he said here, it's a miracle. Yes, very good. They built this plant in the space of 9 months. What's been done is beyond our imagination a few years ago. Effectively, they're training up all these Chinese workers how to build airplanes. Very nice airplanes, apparently. And they're going to then be reducing the work in Hamburg and Toulouse, starting with a cut from 36 planes to 34 planes in the autumn. So no doubt that's going to have a knock-on effect across the UK as well as Europe. Okay, Diageo cuts 900 Scottish jobs. Now you know it's not good when the maker of Guinness, Johnny Walker, and Smirnoff starts cutting jobs. People aren't buying the strong stuff anymore. I suspect they're still buying Guinness. Don't think you could stop the Irish drinking Guinness, but yeah, Johnny Walker and Smirnoff dropping dramatically in sales. It's down 7%, as I recall. Yep, sales dropped 7%. It dropped its inventory by 1 million cases to meet falling demand. Leaked memo raises question on future of shipyards. Now, a number of shipyards in England are threatened with closure as the Ministry of Defence is now considering rejigging how it's going to build ships. And it's no longer going to build quite so many. So they won't need quite so many shipyard workers. Shock news, government to assume control of East Coast Main Line. Now, effectively what it is East Coast Main Line was being run by National Express. As I mentioned in an earlier report, National Express was approached by First Group to merge and sort out some of its financial mess. Well, the problem is that the East Coast franchise had to pay back to the government a total of $1.4 billion in premiums over the life of the franchise. Now, I'm not sure of the years on that. I think it's probably about 10 years. But at any rate, they stopped paying the government. Stopped giving them the money. Oops, sorry, can't afford to pay you. Nobody's taking the trains. As reported in my 2009 predictions back in January 4th, this comes as no surprise to me. Further in the article, they are considering removing the other franchises that National Express are running. And hopefully this will lead to a further renationalization of the rail companies. It's very, very interesting. Now, top story. Economy shrinks at 1930s rate. Yesterday, the Office for National Statistics released an updated number on the first quarter GDP drop. Now, initially, it came out at, I believe it was 1.9% was the original estimate. They've now upped that to, 2.4%. So, in the first quarter, January, February, March, the gross domestic product of the United Kingdom declined 2.4%. which was a dramatic increase. Now, the economists down in the city were expecting it to drop, to be modified to about 2.1%. So going to a decline of 2.4% is quite dramatic. Now, if you check my blog, FeverIAm.blogspot.com, I have a link to the ONS source article, but also an interesting graph that shows the decline in the economy in the United Kingdom. Now, this article goes on further to point out that in the year leading up to April 2009, the economy in England, in the United Kingdom, has declined 4.9%. This is the steepest decline since records began in 1948, and is very similar to what people were seeing in the 1930s. Now, the estimate in the 1930s was the contraction there was roughly 5%. This is what kicked off the Great Depression in the United Kingdom. Now, to end the report on something more positive, a couple of things. The first thing is the National Strike Day. Basically, this is a couch potato strike. Stay at home. Don't eat anything. Don't do anything. Don't shop. Don't use your car. Don't do anything. Don't fill up the car for sure. July 13th. Interesting idea. Well worth looking at. I've linked a video. And of course, sustainable living. Someone passed a set of videos to me the other day, and I thought I would pass them along to you. Earthships. These are fully sustainable, self-regulating houses built out of things like tires. An interesting concept that could be extended to many other environments. Something to think about. Okay, Mr. Anderson. We'll talk to you soon. Peace, love, understanding. Think about things.